Hello there and welcome to the WP Builds newsletter episode 13. This is covering the week commencing the 14th of May 2018 and was released on the 21st of May 2018. Just a couple of quick things. First one, if you use the offer code WP Builds, all capital letters and no spaces, over at main WP, you can get 25% off their platform, which allows you to update and keep your WordPress site's dashboards all in one location. And another thing, I'm trying out something which is at wpbuilds.com/messenger, and it's a new way of keeping you up to date. If you go over to that page, wpbuilds.com/messenger, it'll open up Facebook Messenger, and I'll be able to keep you up to date with when the news items come out and when the podcasts come out. It's basically going to be as simple as that. No great advertising or anything, but I just thought that was quite a nice way, considering a lot of people seem to have Facebook switched on all the time. Okay, right, let's get stuck into the news. The first article this week comes from Satellite WP, and the article is called WordPress 4.9.6 really is a major update. Now, I don't know if you know, but WordPress rolled over to 4.9.6 over the last couple of days, and this was really an update all about GDPR. There were a couple of other things in there as well, but the guys over at Satellite WP have a little bit of a gripe. Really, they're saying that this should have been 4.10 if you like, because this was more than a minor update, a bit of a major update. Now, I didn't realize, but a minor update is all about the last of the three digits, so 4.9.6 in this case. And usually this 6 updating to 7, updating to 8 and so on indicates that it's just little minor things, whereas if you alter the second digit, so the 4.9 becomes 4.10 and so on, it's a bit more of an update, and it's all got to do with how the files are changed. And according to the WordPress rules, it would appear that this is a major update because although the file names haven't changed, the content of a lot of those files has changed and their purpose has changed. Quite interesting, and a few people in our Facebook group were complaining that this really should have been a major update and needed to be handled slightly differently. Anyway, go and have your take on that. Certainly very interesting. The next one is from Talk magazine, or talkmag.io, and it's called Plugin Review Team to Close Unused Plugins. This is a bit like domain squatting. I didn't realize this either, but apparently you can register the name of a new plugin on the WordPress.org repo and then literally squat on it. So you could register a whole bunch of plugin names and then do nothing with them. Well, they're going to crack down on this. Essentially, lots and lots, 9,000 plus plugins have got literally no code attached to them. So they're just literally squatting on the names. So if your plugin doesn't do anything for 6 months and there's no code in there, they're going to get rid of this and thereby free up the names, which frankly seems like a bit of a no-brainer. I'm sure that we'd all agree that's a good idea. Okay, the next one is from the WordFence blog, and it's called Updates on Cybersecurity, WordPress, and What We're Cooking in the Lab Today. No, it's not. It's called Introducing Discounted Hacked Site Cleanings. Oh dear, wake up, Nathan. It's too early on Monday morning. This is all about the fact that they changed their pricing recently to high demand pricing. In other words, if you try to get your site cleaned up because it's been hacked at a busy time, they're going to charge you more because there's greater demand. Well, that's all very well, but what if you are using at a time where there's not a lot of demand? Well, they've gone in the opposite direction. Basically, if you're using them things like the weekend or periods of time where their staff are not being used very much, they're actually going to lower the pricing below their normal baseline price. So it might be, for example, instead of it going up to 1.5 times the price, it might go down to 0.7. Just thought that was quite easy. And an interesting thing, if you've got a website that doesn't need to be critically repaired, it might be economical to wait for a day or two. Okay, guys over at Beaver Builder have released the 1.7 version of their Beaver Builder. Well, it's a 1.7 alpha version of the Beaver Builder theme. To be honest with you, there's a whole load of things. I'll just very quickly run through them. There's added customizer settings for the off-canvas menu, customizer settings for global button styles and heading styles. They've added a header logo customizer setting. They've added initial front-end support for Gutenberg blocks, which is quite cool. Bootstrap 3 and 4, added new framework customizer settings for choosing either one of those, and a whole load more, updated to Font Awesome 5 and so on and so on. So you can go and check that out, and if you're using the Beaver Builder theme, it might be worth checking out their alpha version before switching over to your live sites. Okay, the next one is a little bit of a technical one that I don't fully understand, and it's by Omar Rees on make.wordpress.org, and it's about the fact that they're beginning retooling, if you like, WordPress so that it is ready for its JavaScript future. Now, this article goes into a lot of depth about what's happening and why it's happening, and this would be of use to you, I guess, if you're the kind of person that reads WordPress technical documentation for creating plugins and themes and things like that. It is quite technical, so I won't go into the detail here, but just to say it's part one of a I think 3-part series, maybe worth reading if you're a technical guy and you are making plugins and themes. Okay, the next one is again from the WordFence website. This is called Tracking Emerging Crypto Mining Threats. And it's all about the fact that these days, if your site is hacked, it's very unlikely that they're going to deface it. These days, they're going to install crypto mining software so that they can mine currencies such as Monero, which is very hard to trace who's been mining it. And it's all about the story of unfolding how this has been done recently, and these guys are getting very sophisticated. An awful lot of work had to be done by WordFence to track down how this was installed and how it could be removed. But it's reassuring if you're using WordFence or any other security product, just to kind of keep up to date with what's going on and what the latest threats are. And back again to the make.wordpress.org website, this time getting information from Mika Epstein. This post is called WP 4.9.6 Privacy Hooks and You. Essentially, if you are a plugin developer, the new GDPR arrangements mean that you need to tell your plugin users exactly what kind of data it is that you're collecting, presumably so that they can then pass that on to users, of their websites. He boils it down as follows. The too long didn't read of all of this is that plugins should disclose what user visitor information it saves in the README, hook into the privacy page creator to inform people there too, provide a way to export said information. If you are creating plugins, this is probably worth a read, as now WordPress has got all this stuff in core. Next one is from Elementor. Very quick one, just to say that Elementor, as of today, allows you to create 404 pages. Nothing much really to add. You can use the page builder to create 404 pages, and they've got a whole bunch of templates in order to get you started. WordCamp is a growing thing, according to Themile, who've put together an infographic illustrating its growth since 2013 to 2018. They've got lots of interesting facts, such as how many attendees there are over the years, how many talks there were, how many sessions there were, how many contributors there were, how many volunteers there were, and so on. And basically, by every metric, it's growing. My understanding is that WordCamp Europe is the largest one in the world, and it's coming around very soon. So if you're interested in WordCamps, it might be interesting to see. It's nice because it just makes me feel like the WordPress community is still on the up and up, which is wonderful. Okay, done with the WordPress stuff. Let's move over to a couple of things. Google Chrome is going to, by October, really start to get very, very serious about HTTPS. It's sort of like final warning deadline. It's going to be making it very obvious to your users that sites are no longer secure. Now, this has been ramping up for a long time. I think the plan is in Chrome in September, so Chrome 69, is to get rid of the secure green word which appears in the URL bar and just get rid of that altogether. The presumption being that if a site is secure, we don't need to tell you that anymore, and only insecure sites will flag up a very, very large red warning saying not secure. And then finally, the padlock will just disappear altogether as well, again because the implication is that all sites should be secure by then. I think very interesting. Props to Google for doing this, because I think this is the way the web should go. But obviously, if you've got any properties out there which are not using HTTPS, it's time to get them over, isn't it? Last one today is the fact that Google, again, this is the Search Engine Journal, is creating something called original articles from your content. Might be slightly worrying, this, and something to explore, because they're going to be paraphrasing people's work. So if somebody goes to Google and asks a question, they're going to be summing up an answer to that from around the web and creating little algorithmically generated summaries and extracts and content. And it feels almost like they're going to pull in 2 or 3 bits of content and give them the answer without need to reference where they got it from. This could be slightly worrying if your website is providing answers to questions. Is it possible that in the future Google can just use your information, pass it directly to the user in a Google search who wants to know the answer to something, and not credit you for it? Definitely worth checking out. Okay, right. I hope you have a lovely week. Thanks for listening to the WP Builds newsletter. Do join in on Thursday for the podcast, and I hope you have a very pleasant week. Bye-bye.